Okay, hello. We are basically picking up right where I just left off. Like I said, I just want to separate videos, but I'm not done with what I'm doing with this game for the day. Absolutely. So we're going to do a little base management, head into our next mission, and maybe shower. We should probably shower.
Development project has been added. Staff assigned. Please select a landing zone. Heading to Mother Base.
Go see how things have changed since we've been away. By the way, this is also implying that this quote-unquote big boss and Diamond Dogs directly contributed to the Soviet Union failing in Afghanistan, and then the Soviet Union ceasing to be a thing. Pretty cool.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me join the fight.
Right? We can't build
Boss,
anything.
will you train with me?
Please the landing zone confirmed.
Roger. This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
I first met you 20 years ago now. The place was Selenouyarsk in the Soviet Union. We were enemies. I was with the GRU. You were still fighting for America. 1964. Operation Snake Eater. Its objective?
Please
The assassination of a
project.
legendary soldier known as the Boss. When you returned home successful, they awarded you the title Big Boss. Your CO, Zero, sought to carry on the boss's will by covertly establishing his own organization. You knew the original members from Operation Snake Eater. From America, there was David O, or as he was to you, Major Zero. Donald Anderson, aka Sigint. Dr. Clark, who went by paramedic during the operation. And the fourth, you. From China, there was Eva. And me, Ocelot, from the Soviet Union. 6 in total. To us, government notions of friend and foe were meaningless.
Please specify
As were
project.
East and West, we joined forces by our will alone. Our objective was to fulfill the boss's dying wish, to make the world one. And to do it, Zero used the Philosopher's Legacy, the secret war fund you obtained during Operation Snake Eater. This organization would go on to
Please
become
select a mission.
Cypher. I, on the other hand, was left with the problem. You only recovered half of the legacy. I had to locate the other half myself. When I found the funds, I passed them on to Zero, just as you wanted. I still trusted him in those days. We thought what he was doing was the boss's will, until he started that one project. Les enfants terribles, Zero called it. You parted
Les
ways,
enfants terribles.
as did Eva, leaving only Anderson and Clark still with him. I maintained limited contact. Although, truth be told, we were just keeping tabs on one another. The reason was always you. After you returned to the Army and created Foxhound, you left America. For a time, even I'd lost track of you. I'd imagine Zero did too. You always were the best when it came to hide and seek. Zero created Cypher, an information network to tap into every corner of the globe. Woven together, Cypher's arteries make the world just one big organism. And that's not all. It also monitors the thorn in Zero's side. That's you, tracking your coordinates wherever you might go. The further you strayed from your roots, the larger Zero became. It's as if he was trying to close the gap between you. But before long, he disappeared from public life. Only a few people had direct contact with him. For a time, I was one of them. Then a year after you fell into your coma, he slipped out of sight entirely. Since then, nothing. No photos, no recordings, not even a reliable rumor as to his whereabouts. I tried every method I could think of, but Zero was gone. Freed of his control, his creation, his power continued to grow. Cypher is a great beast, and Zero was its spine. But even without him, it's endured, evolved. But now its body is rotting, riddled with parasites. Parasites like the ones who attacked you 9 years ago in the Caribbean, and then at the hospital. Cypher's Black Ops unit, XOF. They learned where you were, and came to wipe the slate clean.
Diamond Dogs. The word diamond originally comes from the Greek adamas. It means indomitable, unyielding. Other words for the stones often mean eternal bond, fortitude, or purity. The same is true of the Star of Bethlehem flowers you laid on the boss's grave. They represent innocence, as well as chastity, yielding to no man while maintaining one's virtue. In other words, staying loyal to something.
Alright. It's time to continue on to another mission.
Please select a mission. Mission accepted. Heading to Afghanistan.
Hell yeah, I remember unlocking the sneaking suit and basically using it for the rest of the game. It's one of my favorite uniforms that we have. Are you ready? I did not realize I was paused. So basically, for what I missed, hasn't been much. Check out a couple of guards. Rescued a couple of sheep. We are still on the same mission, so we are rescuing the prosthetics developer of the prosthetic hand on the left hand right here. But yeah, didn't miss much. I wasn't paused for very long, but I did capture a couple of guards and a couple of sheep over there. Now we're going to see if we can capture this command post.
Intel
That's
file
fine.
obtained.
Analyzing the intel file you picked up.
Extraction
We've got a fix on the target.
database.
I've updated your map info. Check it on your iDroid.
Analysis complete.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. extract him. He's coming too. Roger that.
Состав, это командир. Внешняя радиосвязь вышла из строя. Мы не можем вызвать подкрепление с других аванпостов. Окопайтесь и удерживайте позиции своими силами. Конец связи! КП, это зона 7. Потерял визуальный контакт. Перемещаюсь по всем известной позиции. Прием. Это КП, понял. Проверьте, но осторожно. Конец связи. Понял. Не позволяйте им застать вас врасплох. Будьте начеку. Конец связи. Штаб, это КП. По нам велся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ. Потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Штаб, это КП. Ответьте. Штаб, ответьте. Штаб, это КП. Штаб, прием. Extract him. That material. It could be just what we need to develop new weapons and equipment. Это КП, понял. Всем боевым группам проверить окрестности. Избавиться от чужака. Конец связи.
You have arrived at your destination.
Boss, you've entered a building. Always keep an escape route in mind when you head indoors. If you get surrounded, you'll have nowhere to run. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Это командир. Внешняя радиосвязь вышла из строя. Мы не можем вызвать подкрепление с других аванпостов. Окопайтесь и удерживайте позиции своими силами. Конец связи.
Roger that. You gonna extract him? Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
КП, это Дмитрий 9. Потерял визуальный контакт. Перемещаюсь к последней известной позиции. Прием! Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку.
Analysis complete.
Конец
Is that him? Take a good look at it. There. That's the target.
Этот протез. Я его сделал. Это мой шедевр.
Great.
Не протезы.
If there's nothing in the way overhead, you should be able to fold him.
Please select a landing zone. Landing zone mission.
Roger.
Support helicopter requested.
Начинаю поиск. Прием! Это КП, понял. Следите за ними. Не позволяйте им ходить с фланга. Конец связи. Штаб. Это КП. По нам велся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ, но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность.
Outpost captured.
Штаб, это КП. Штаб, прием!
He's coming too. Roger that.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. Have arrived at
Extraction
LZ.
failed.
We'll stand by.
Support helicopter has arrived. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Gaining altitude.
Buddy departing area of operation. Exfiltrated.
All right, you're out of the hot zone. No enemy forces in pursuit. Mission complete. Mission complete. Great work. The engineer we rescued has been extremely cooperative. The guys on the R&D team are glad to have him aboard. Thing is, his specialty isn't mechanics, but something called bionics, engineering based on biology. He's already submitted a proposal for modifying your prosthetic arm. If you're interested, go ahead and give the development order. were lucky to get our hands on that cyborg arm developer. There's no one in Diamond Dogs who can so much as maintain that thing.
Bionic arm, not cyborg, if you go by what he calls it. But you're right, the East is light years ahead in bionics. They can even detect through the skin the slight electrical signals from the brain that order muscles to move. The Soviet Union completed their first bionic arm capable of doing that back in the 60s. Although I guess that news didn't really reach the West.
No kidding. Zadornov's was the only one I ever saw. Quite a shock to see it for the first time.
And it was no mean feat to get hold of Snake's arm. I couldn't get one for you at the time, but you know, now...
Forget it. I've no intention of relying on bionics. Right now I need to keep the pain fresh in my mind.
Well, it's your decision. But don't you find it... inconvenient?
Not a bit. But the phantom pain... it never lets up. Do you know how many men I saw die that day? There's nothing we can do to bring them back. And you expect me to care about getting a measly arm and leg back? Sorry. But my pain belongs to all our dead comrades. I'll keep living with it for their sake. It'll guide me straight and true until I've gotten them the vengeance they deserve.
Please specify a project. Please specify a project. Staff assigned. Please select a mission.
Part of the Mujahideen's arsenal against the Soviets is secretly supplied by the CIA. But the war continues to drag on with neither side gaining the advantage. Now though, the CIA have started supplying the guerrillas with a new weapon. We don't know the details, but rumor has it that it could turn the tide of the war. The Soviets have heard about it, and it has them spooked. Now the Hamid Mujahideen were issued this weapon, but then they were wiped out in no time. There's no trace of fighting at their fort, and all their supplies are just sitting there. Naturally, that screams biochemical weapons, but the Soviets deny using anything that would violate the BWC. Whatever happened, the Soviets have invaded the area and are searching for this Western weapon tack. This is the CIA's worst nightmare. If that weapon falls into Soviet hands, it'll drastically rewrite the history that's being made here. But the company can't be seen entering the area. That's where we come in. Boss, head to the fort of Desmasi Laman. Find the weapon before the Soviets, and bring it back to base fast. The new weapon is codenamed Honeybee. To the US, it's a vital military secret.
Mission accepted. Deploying.
Boss, locate and bring back the U.S. military's new weapon codenamed Honeybee. The CIA put it in the hands of the Hamid group of Mujahideen, but the Hamid fighters were wiped out. The Honeybee must still be hidden at their base, the fort at Dasmasi Laman. Unfortunately, the Soviets are looking for the weapon as well. You have to get to it before they do, and bring it back here. There's a photo of the target on your iDroid. One more thing. Apparently, one of the Hamid fighters survived. He's missing, but if you can find him, he might lead us to the target. Good luck, boss.
Mother base is in the map has been updated.
Be careful down there, boss.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Black carrot. It's something of an ancestor to the domestic carrot. It's also a favorite of wild animals. The wormwood, also known as absinthium. That's used to make your phantom cigars. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. The enemy's given up their search for you.
Guard post captured.
You gotta extract him.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
A Soviet relay base. Think there's something in there that could lead us to the Honeybee?
Whoa, whoa!
Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Is that prisoner the Hamid survivor?
Analysis
If he is, he has to know something about the Honeybee.
Analysis complete.
Всем боевым группам, это кафе! На нас напали! Всем подразделениям занять боевые позиции! Зона 1, это кафе! Открыть подавляющий минометный огонь по противнику! Прием! Это зона 1! Он понял! Подготовка к минометному огню! Конец связи!
Damn!
Boss, come in. Boss? Yeah.
You need to retrieve the new U.S. military weapon known as the Honeybee. It should be hidden somewhere in Smasei Fort. There's a photo of the Honeybee on your iDroid.
Alright, so clearly taking a sniper position is not the way to go. We have enemy forces to the left we'd have to deal with first.
A Soviet relay base. Think there's something in there that could lead us to the Honeybee?
Analysis complete.
You gotta extract him. Boss, get down. The enemy sniper. Stay low and crawl along the ground. That should enable you to sneak past enemies.
КП это зона 10. Оборудование разрушено. Саботаж со стороны врага. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Немедленно проверить и сдать оперативную сводку. Конец связи. Перегруппироваться!
coming too. Roger that.
Это КП, понял? Приказ всем группам. Отправить дивизионы на подкрепление. Конец связи!
Outpost captured. Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Enter Smase Fort. Once you're there, look for the target.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
A dumpster. Looks big enough to hide somebody. You could stash a downed enemy in there, or hide in it yourself. Just don't stand too close to me afterward.
Слышал, о чем говорила женщина рядом на электростанции? Нет, жил женщина.
So if sandstorms come in, sandstorms effectively make you blind and deaf. That goes for you. ship. A single burst from his machine gun could cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss.
Extraction failed.
Extract him. He's coming too. Roger that. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Analysis complete.
He's coming too. Roger that. Extract him.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. You have arrived at your destination.
That's Smasse Fort, to Smasse Lamont. Now to find the honeybee.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Это КП, понял. Всем подразделениям, быть начеку. Конец связи.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Analysis complete.
Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выкройте врага. Конец связи. Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выкройте врага. Конец связи. Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выкройте врага. Конец связи. Всем боевым группам, это КП. Все подразделения за боевые позиции. Повторяю, все подразделения за боевые позиции. Это КП, понял? Внимание всем подразделениям. Отправить все резервы на помощь. Повторяю, отправить помощь. Конец связи. КП-53, потерял противника. Ищу последней точки соприкосновения. Прием. Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку и найдите противника. Конец связи.
There may be evidence as to where they've hidden the target. Got a pair of night vision goggles on you?
КП, Дмитрий, никаких признаков противника. Обыскиваю местность. Прием. Это КП, понял. Следите за ними. Не позволяйте им ходить с фланга. Конец связи. Штаб, это КП. По нам велся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ. Но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Прием. Прием.
thought they'd hide it there. You secured the target. Now you just need to bring it back.
Extraction.
Call the chopper from your iDroid.
Base
You are not to use the Honeybee.
being added.
The order was to recover it with its ammunition.
КП, это Медведева. Телефон в секторе. Направление установлено. Ожидаю приказов. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Будьте начеку. Выкурите врага. Конец связи.
And to stop the murders, ma'am. Oh, okay, so it's going well. Fantastic.
You look well rested, big boss. My, how you've changed. You became a demon for such little weapons as that? Well, I'm sure you'll see the bigger picture eventually. If you get out of here alive. Rest in peace this time. I'll see you in hell, boss.
What the hell was that thing? It was huge. unit. The skulls. What's he doing to that soldier? Damn it, they're everywhere.
Those skulls are too fast. If you had a homing weapon. Boss, maybe it's time to see what the honeybee can do. Now we're talking.
We can forget about that bonus now.
The mist is cleared, and it looks like they're gone.
And bring the target back.
Requested. Please select a landing zone. Landing zone confirmed.
Roger.
This is Pequod. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
This is Pequod. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Support helicopter has arrived.
Yeah.
Cover fire. In hot. Target acquired. In hot.
All right, get in. Time to go.
Exfiltrated hot zone.
Gaining altitude.
Development project has been added.
Mission complete. I guess it all worked out in the end. So this unit in the mist, their speed, the way they jump, it's not human. And those deformities,
They attacked the Soviets, too.
and that Grim Reaper look-alike in charge of them. That giant thing that carried him off. What the hell are they?
Cypher.
What do they want? What's their objective? Why Afghanistan? There's one more thing troubling me.
What happened to the Hamid?
Exactly. Whole squads of hardened Mujahideen killed without a fight, and no trace of BC weaponry. What does it all mean?
That's what we're here to find out.
Yeah, right. If we really need to know, the truth will reveal itself. Even if it's ugly. Boss, I'm creating a new intel team to support you in our areas of operation. Members of this team will head out into the field and conduct reconnaissance. Knowing the strength of an enemy force beforehand will help you carry out missions more smoothly. We may also learn something about the Skull-Faced Man. So boss, that brings me to assigning staff to the intel team. There might be guys already assigned to other teams who are more suited to the intel team. Go ahead and reassign them as you see fit. The dog you brought back. There'll come a day when he'll be ready to join you on missions. But you know, he gets lonely easily. You should come visit him every once in a while. Get back to Mother Base.
Halt! Hey, see that? Now that's discipline. Following orders like a real diamond dog. Soon he'll be... Hey, no! Stay! Stay! Didi! Go! No, maybe not yet. But soon. Soon.
Boss, we've had some new job offers come in. I've selected the ones I'd like you to handle and added them to the list. Take a look on your iDroid. The more missions you complete, the more we can expand Mother Base.
Commencing platform construction. Staff assigned. Unit function added. Development project has been added. Please specify a project. Please specify a project.
Diamond Dog's intel team specializes in information gathering, mainly HUMINT and SIGINT. They plant scouts and moles in the field. These operatives will blend into the local populace and work under the guise of a resident, or disguise themselves as travelers and ask around for information. They observe targets using various hidden bugs, cameras, and transmitters, and by tapping their satellite and phone communications. Analyzing all this information creates a clear picture of how wars and the PFs fighting them are changing. This data can also be used for threat assessment when deciding whether to accept contracts from certain clients. And during missions, The intel team keeps track of target locations and produces FOM predictions, reporting mission-critical information based on real-time remote observation of changes in the AO. What you hear from us over the radio is based on how we interpret the data gathered at the command platform. However, intel team operatives go unarmed in almost all situations to avoid revealing themselves to the enemy. Some will carry a knife, but most have nothing at all. As such, don't expect them to help you take on heavily armed adversaries like PF soldiers. Think of them as entirely passive in the hot zone. Plus, they use all manner of techniques to remain inconspicuous in the field. If you ever spot one, you'll have some serious explaining to do. So remember, their specialty is espionage. They may not be of use in a firefight, but when it comes to intel, they're pros.
Yeah, just... Wait, what?
Right, so we've been in the trenches in Afghanistan. We had to kill some people. We rescued, quote-unquote, a lot of people, recruited them to Diamond Dogs.
Guess not.
But a lot of people had to die,
they
so
would
we
feel
could
nice.
get up to speed on missions. I think we're getting to the Huey mission, which is gonna be maybe soon? Next? We'll see. There's a couple more things I want to listen to.
I had the R&D team analyze the honeybee.
How? The CIA wanted it with everything intact.
They took it apart to look at it. Then they put it back together. Everything intact.
That's the R&D boys, all right.
Turns out the honeybee's homing capabilities are a cut above previous manpads. It can detect a broad range of infrared wavelengths and even ultraviolet for supplementary guidance.
Hence the name, huh?
Right. Honeybees rely on UV light to fly. With this device, flares don't do the target any good.
That's why the Soviets are losing so many gunships.
And why the CIA was so desperate to get it back. It wasn't just about preventing the Soviets from devising countermeasures. What if the likes of Iran got their hands on it?
American aircraft would be put at risk too.
We can use this tech to develop our own portable missile. That'll give us a huge advantage. It'll take a little time before the analysis results can be applied to actual implementation. But we'll keep moving with the research.
Those guerrilla fighters known as Mujahideen don't actually belong to a single organization. Afghanistan is a multi-ethnic country. You've got the Pashtuns, the Tajiks, Uzbeks, Hazaras, and each of them is split into their own tribes, large and small. Each ethnicity has several rebel organizations that their various tribes gather under. They're united under the banner of jihad, but that doesn't mean they work like a single standing army. Just look at the area around Smasy Fort. A lot of Tajiks used to live there, but they fled after the Soviets started their Scorched Earth campaign. With the area uninhabited, the Hamid fighters, who are Pashtun, decided to move in. The Hamids are based out of the city of Peshawar. We passed through it on the western edge of Pakistan. The Pashtun people have long lived in Afghanistan and western Pakistan. They used to travel back and forth frequently. Then Britain went and established the border that still stands today. The Hamid fighters get generous support from the Pakistani government. The government wants to use them to secure influence over Afghanistan. Their liaison with the Hamids is Inter-Services Intelligence, and behind the ISI, you have the CIA. That's probably how the honeybee ended up in the hands of the Hamid men.
Please select a mission. Please select landing zone confirmed.
Roger.
This is Pequod. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Pequod. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
Mission
Members
list.
of the intel team are on the ground. Their reports will be reflected as predicted enemy fields of movement on your iDroid's map. The higher the team's level, the more accurate and frequent their reports will become. Be sure to take advantage of them.
Please select a landing zone. Heading to Afghanistan. Deploying.
Boss, good news from the support unit. They can now deliver support strikes to our areas of operation. Use your iDroid to designate a location for a strike. Just make sure you're not in the kill zone. I'd hate to tell the men they blew up the boss. After you've called in a strike, move away from the target location immediately. Also, like supply drops, strikes cost GMP. So once you don't put us in the red, remember what our real objective is.
The real objective, ladies and gentlemen, is money. Lots and lots of money.
Be careful down there, boss.
Marker placed. Sun will set shortly.
связи.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. 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 Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Caution, sandstorm approaching. You have arrived at your destination. Analysis complete.
Всем боевым группам, это кафе. Боевые посты. Всем подразделениям по боевым постам.
Weather will clear shortly. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Не можем никого к вам прислать. Постарайтесь пройти сами. Конец связи! КП СБТ-1. Потерял противника. Ищу последние точки соприкосновения. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Будьте начеку и найдите противника. Конец связи.
That's the target.
КП, это Дмитрий-3. Враг ушел. Начинаю поиск. Прием. Это КП. Понял. Не позволяйте им застать вас врасплох. Будьте начеку. Конец связи. Штаб, это КП. По нам велся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ, но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Прием.
Please select a landing zone.
Roger.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Support helicopter.
Requested.
Всем боевым группам, это КП. Враг атакует. Все единицы приготовиться к бою. Это КП, понял. Внимание всем подразделениям. Отправить резервы на помощь. Повторяю, отправить помощь. Конец связи. This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ.
Support helicopter has arrived.
Gaining altitude.
Buddy departing area of operations.
Это КП, понял. Обследуйте сектор. Но осторожно, конец связи.
changing ships? We can't go sailing the Suez in a whaler.
The Suez Canal. When did they reopen it?
Not long after you were attacked. Once they finished sweeping it for mines after the Arab-Israeli conflict. Can you stand? We've got to transfer to a container ship for passage through the Suez. Our destination is Pakistan, Afghanistan's neighbor to the south. There, we disembark and head via Peshawar to the Zero Line, the border. We'll travel to the Khyber Pass by road.
And then?
We continue on horseback. Afghanistan's main roads are under Soviet control. We'll need to go around them. It'll be all narrow, winding paths through the mountains. We'll do better on horseback. It's a local guerrilla tactic. They use the higher ridges to avoid air recons. Then they charge down the mountains for ambushes. The Soviets still haven't devised a counter-strategy. Our time frame is only half as much as we really need. It's gonna be a tough march.
Better horses than boats.
Well, it'll make for good physiotherapy. Take the time to get used to that new arm.
While the Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles Olympics, primarily because the United States has made no attempt to guarantee...
So SALT II still hasn't gone into effect.
That treaty was drawn up to limit not just the size of the U.S. and Soviet Union's nuclear arsenals, but also their delivery systems. The whole deal. That's when we thought all those years of negotiations had paid off. Somebody decides to invade Afghanistan. The timing couldn't have been worse.
The president was in the middle of the SALT II talks back then.
You mean while you were busy trying to stop Peace Walker? I heard. President Ford was meeting with the General Secretary in Vladivostok. In his absence, the political brass in America detected what they didn't realize was false nuclear launch data from Peace Walker, and were on the verge of ordering a retaliatory nuclear strike.
Coleman's big idea? Humans are incapable of destroying themselves. Turns out he never knew what humans are capable of.
If that AI, I mean, the boss, hadn't found a way to stop the fake data transmission, they probably would have gone ahead with the launch.
Deterrence was revealed as the pipe dream it was.
All thanks to you. And her. The U.S.-Soviet talks looked set to fall through. What happened in Nicaragua no doubt helped trigger a change of heart. But in the end...
The time's to find the politics. When you've grabbed their tail, they turn and bite your hand.
This war... The Kremlin never expected to have this much trouble against the Mujahideen. Afghanistan is a tribal society. Tradition demands that its people stand up to any outsiders who set foot on their land. With the honor of their people at stake, they have everything to fight for. No matter how hard the Soviets hit them, they continue to appear out of nowhere, striking back, then vanishing again. But there's one thing even the Mujahideen fear. Every last one of them. The Soviet gunships. They're highly maneuverable and equipped with massive firepower. Plus, the underside of the fuselage is heavily armored. The Mujahideen can barely scratch them with their small arms. Anyone who hangs around gets mowed down by the gunship's heavy machine guns. This new Honeybee weapon that was given to the Hamid fighters, it's no doubt something to help them strike back against the gunships, which makes it a weapon that could change the course of the war.
So Kaz, the ship that took us from Cyprus, it used to be a whaler.
Yeah, a Japanese vessel. How was the voyage?
It was... stimulating.
Well, she was part of a whaling fleet up until a few years ago. Her displacement isn't anything to write home about, but she can really move. She still had plenty of life left in her, but then the work dried up. Global opposition to whaling has been mounting for years.
Is that right?
The push to ban it has been gaining traction for a little over a decade. Individual species came under protection as the years went on, and then 2 years ago the IWC adopted a moratorium on commercial whaling. Several countries, including Japan, fought it to the bitter end. But eventually, most whaling companies had no choice but to throw in the towel. You ever tried whale snake?
Can't say that I have.
When I was a kid in Japan, practically everybody ate it.
That good, huh?
The country was poor in those days, and whale was cheap. International opinions changed since then. In any case, that's why we were able to get a bargain price on the ship. Of course, we did end up spending 5 times the purchase price in modifications. We had to really work to fit in all the ESM and communications gear while keeping the whaler look intact. Right now, she's going around conducting SIGINT missions. In the future, we plan to use her as a communications relay base between you and Mother Base, and also as a chopper resupply vessel. Diamond Dogs. The word diamond originally comes from the Greek Adamas. It means indomitable.
While the Soviets have indicated they are not participating in the Los Angeles Olympics, primarily because the United States has made no attempt to guarantee the safety of the Soviet Union's athletes, the United States is increasingly demonstrating the belief that the issue has nothing to do with its preparations, and in fact this is retaliation for the Western nations' boycott of the previous Moscow Olympics. That concludes today's news.
That's quite some news.
The Soviet Union not attending the LA Olympics? Yeah. Andropov's death has changed some things. They're calling it revenge for the Western boycott of the Moscow Olympics.
Countries boycotted the Moscow Olympics?
Yes. In protest of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. Over 50 countries were absent. It's too bad I didn't get to see Yamashita's judo. When the 40th Army crossed the Amu River 4 years ago, détente went right out the window. The U.S. Congress chose not to ratify SALT II, and Reagan's hardline politics won in the presidency in a landslide. According to him, the Soviet Union's an evil empire.
A second Cold War.
And there's been no end to regional conflicts and civil wars. Lebanon, the Falklands, Grenada, Iran, Iraq. The story never changes.
Egypt and Israel did sign a peace treaty. But then the driving force on the Egyptian side, President Sadat, was assassinated afterward. Apparently, his actions were considered a betrayal of his fellow Arabs. Islamic extremists?
Yes. Fundamentalist extremists have been responsible for some bold acts of terrorism in recent years.
We've had extremist students in Iran take U.S. embassy workers hostage, and suicide bombings in Lebanon. Over 300 foreign soldiers stationed there have been killed.
The countries have yet to develop an effective means of dealing with terrorism. Afraid of losing their own men, they've pulled their forces out, handing private forces a golden opportunity.
Private forces?
Small armies with no national affiliation, working for the highest bidder. That's right, they got the idea from you. After Mother Base went down, they began spreading to meet the soaring demand. Miller's organization is just one of many PFs now. The entire world is after you. But at the same time, it needs you too. Miller told me about what happened in the Caribbean 9 years ago. You do remember, Miller.
So I am about to end this video and probably start the next one, but before I do, I just want to comment on the fact that the researchers in this are kind of right about the Mujahideen, things that happen in Afghanistan. It's not that the country had a problem with dealing with terrorism per se. There was a lot of political infighting because one of the politicians that gained power was kind of a lapdog to the Soviets, so he could maintain power. It's a very, very, very fucked up situation. Any student of history that has spent any time on the history of Afghanistan, especially from 1965 to 1990, like preempting everything that has happened the last 30 years, well, 30-ish years. It's a little bit more complicated than what they say. You know, it's not as easy as, oh, this country has not been good at maintaining terrorism, so how about, private contractors move in. It's good for a story that, like, this is telling, where a PMC is gaining notoriety and recognition again by building themselves back up. But reality was not that simple. I'm going to put a pause button on this just for now while I start the next video up. But if you made it through this one, thank you so much. Please subscribe. Follow the other videos that I'm doing too, because I'm going to be moving through this thing. I will be continuing Baldur's Gate at some point. I promise. I'm just taking a little bit of a break to go back to a classic that I love. And the main thing that I'm going to be doing, that we all do, is 5M. So if you enjoyed this, I appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you very soon.